Hey everyone, it's Jackie from Vegan Yack Attack, and I'm back with a brand new recipe, and actually a couple more recipes that are not new, but I thought would be super helpful to share. They're all smoothies, and since it's very hot generally, almost everywhere, I feel like a smoothie is the best way to, get nutrients, get refreshed, and have like a really satisfying meal. You can always snack, with your smoothie if you're into that. But I personally have been making a ton of smoothies. I made one kind of like this the other day in my Instagram stories, and I asked y'all if you wanted the recipe, and I got a resounding yes. So I thought I would share this new recipe for a chocolate tahini smoothie, as well as two other smoothies that I think are perfect for summer, one being a mint mojito smoothie and the other being a hangover smoothie for you. It's got a little peanut butter. It's really delicious. So first, we're going to start off with the chocolate tahini smoothie. Now, when you're making a smoothie, it doesn't really matter what blender you're using. What you want to do is start with the soft ingredients first. Now, you may be like, what the heck is going on with this? So this is summer squash. I also like to use zucchini in smoothies. It's a nice bulker for smoothies as opposed to using just bananas or something because they're very sweet and they have a pretty strong flavor. So I feel like a zucchini in a smoothie is a nice way to give you a little bit more volume, increase the biodiversity of your smoothie. If you're not familiar with your microbiome, I'll link one of my favorite podcasts on it in the description. I love it because it just talks about getting different kinds of fiber from all kinds of different ingredients and how that benefits your overall health. So when you add a smoothie, it's nice, or when you add some zucchini to your smoothie, you're getting a whole nother ingredient, but not like a super strong flavor. And I hesitate to call this a vegetable because culinarily it's a vegetable, but scientifically it's still a fruit because squash is still a fruit. It's grown on a vine, it has seeds inside, etc. But it still is nice to get a different ingredient in there. So we're going to add this first to the blender because it is the softest ingredient and you don't want to wreck the blade in here. There we go. Oh, missed this little part. And this smoothie is 2 servings. The other smoothies I'm making are smaller servings. So we have our zucchinis. I have some dates here, and because dates can get pretty rough, I soaked these in some hot water for about 15 minutes. So I have 4 dates, but you can do this to taste. I do it a little for sweetness, but also because I just like the flavor of dates. It has kind of like this nice caramel flavor, and it goes really well with tahini. If you've ever had like a tahini date shake, it's delicious. So we're kind of just doing a little bit more elaborate version of that. And you can always, I'm gonna use this in the smoothie as well, this date soak water. So just save that, don't get rid of it yet. Next, we are going to add our tahini in. And what I like about tahini is that it makes it very creamy, but also sesame seeds have a lot of iron in them. So if you're looking to get some plant-based iron, this is an excellent way to do that. Next, we have our cocoa. I just have Dutch processed cocoa here and a little cinnamon. If you want to keep it more raw, you can use cacao powder. I just feel that because it's not roasted, the chocolate flavor is not as strong, but that is totally personal preference. Next, we're going to do just a little pinch of salt. Not much, like really just a small pinch. And then here, I have some frozen bananas. I don't like to peel them and then cut them up before freezing them and putting them in a bag. I just shove them in the freezer like this. So these have been out for probably like 15 minutes. They're gonna be easier to peel. If you grab them straight out of the freezer after freezing them like this, just run them under warm water for, 20 to 30 seconds, and it's gonna be easier to peel without everything getting stuck. Hopefully these didn't thaw out too much. So this is 3 of the bananas. And it's gonna be about 2 cups of bananas. Ideally, they'd be a little bit more frozen than this going into this smoothie. So I may end up adding a couple ice cubes to this just because I like my smoothies like really cold. Again, that's personal preference. This one, I don't, these are perfect for banana bread if you were wondering. But in this case, they're nice and sugary for this smoothie. Let me rinse off my hands really quick. Okay, now that we have everything in the blender with the exception of the liquid, you can use non-dairy milk if you want this a little richer and thicker, but I feel like because of the sesame and the tahini, it's gonna be pretty smooth and creamy anyway. So now I'm adding this leftover. This is probably a 1/3 cup of liquid. I'm gonna add like another little bit of water here because this is gonna depend on your blender's ability to blend, really. So I'll just start with that much for now, which is about, I don't know, a 1/2 cup or so. So this is about a cup of water in all. Since these bananas are pretty soft, I might not need any more. So give this a little blend. Okay, that was easy, right? This is why I love smoothies, because I don't really have to think all that hard and I just throw stuff in a blender and then I have something to eat. I'm gonna give this a little taste. Ooh, I love the nuttiness of that tahini in there. It is so nice with the dates and the banana. I feel like you could add a little bit more cinnamon here if you want it, but overall this is really nice. Or even like another banana maybe, just to amp up the sweetness just a little bit. But like I said, smoothies are really easy to customize for your preferences, and this is a really great smoothie as is. So I'm gonna go pour it into a glass. Okay. Ooh, look at how creamy that is. Yum. You could definitely use some ice cubes for a little more coolness, but I love the flavor of this. So if you like tahini, even if you think you just like it in savory purposes, I think you'll love this smoothie. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, for our next smoothie, it's a little lighter. So I like to think of this as more of like a super refreshing kind of snack that you would have maybe in between meals. This green mojito smoothie recipe comes from the Blender Girls smoothie book, which is fantastic, especially if you love smoothies as much as I do. And Tess Masters is an amazing woman, so if you don't follow her, you should definitely give her a little follow, check her out. She is a powerhouse. So I'm going to link this recipe in the description as well. It was posted on my blog a couple of years ago, maybe a few years ago. Time doesn't exist. So let's go ahead and get started on this. First, we have some kale, and we're going to add that in. I may have added a little extra kale. Oh well. And then we have mint, of course, since this is a mojito. Next, we have so much lime zest. Make sure you get all that in there. And then we have frozen pineapple, and I love pineapples in smoothies. It's like one of my favorite things. So we're gonna put that in there. In the recipe, it says to use either water or coconut water. In this case, I have water because I don't have any coconut water right now, but I can tell you it is delicious with coconut water. Super refreshing. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of this. Yeah, about, I don't know, 3/4 cup. And then she suggests a few drops of non-alcohol stevia. So that's what I have here, just a couple to sweeten it up. Because like I said, it's more of a refreshing like snack beverage as opposed to a meal. It's kind of a nice sweet treat. So 4 drops of that. You can do that to taste or completely omit it if you want. And we'll go ahead and give this a little blend. Ooh, this smells so good. And it's such a bright green color. I love this. Okay. Woo! That lime zest too. Since this is like a small 2 servings, I'm using a smaller jar here. To be completely honest, I'll probably just drink this all myself anyway. Give it a little test. So good. This is the perfect summer smoothie for when you're hanging out in your backyard, because you probably shouldn't be going out anywhere else right now anyway. And you're gazing at the sunset, just drinking this little smoothie. You could probably spike it if you want even. Maybe put a little light rum in there. So good. Now we're on to our, speaking of rum, I guess, we're on to our hangover smoothie. All right, lastly, we have this semi-indulgent but potassium-rich hangover smoothie. And I say potassium-rich because we have some nice bananas, our dates as well, and when you're hungover or maybe just recovering from a solid workout, that too, your body needs to be replenished with minerals, electrolytes, and potassium is something that helps as well for recovery. So as that is our base, I'll go ahead and just put everything in the blender. Start. I have some dates that I've soaked here, 2 large medjool dates, or you could use like 4 small ones, like Diglet. And then we have our little bit of peanut butter, and this is a single serving recipe. So if you are making it for 2 people, just, double the ingredients. Not really that big of a deal. We have some chia seeds. I also like using hemp seeds in smoothies, but this one has chia seeds, change it up a little bit. Hemp seeds create a little bit more creaminess. This kind of thickens it, and then of course, chia seeds are also very nutrient dense, so they're just nice to have in smoothies. I've rinsed these off a bit and cut them in half so it's a little easier to peel because, like I said, I don't know what the aversion is for me not cutting these before putting them in the freezer. I think it's just, they get dark on the counter and I'm like, whatever. And I just throw them in there and it's not really that big of a deal. And I don't have to put them in a bag because they're in their own container. Maybe that's what it is. All right. And then these, you want like 2 large frozen bananas for this. So it's about a 1.5 cups, a cup and like 3/4. If you are like at Sprouts, I think that they have frozen banana that you can buy, which I imagine is maybe not as cheap as just freezing your own. But if you do that, yeah, it's gonna be about almost 2 cups, depending on the size of the banana. And here, instead of just using water or coconut water, which you could also use if you wanted to add even more potassium to this, I'm just using a little bit of water and then some non-dairy milk, some unsweetened non-dairy milk. Okay, add that in. Let me wash my hands. Okay, let's give it a blend. And because this is, there's really not many ingredients to this. There is a little bit more liquid since the frozen banana is the main thing, and you want to give your blender a little bit of help in blending. Okay, let's give this a little looky-loo. Because with the chia seeds, the nice thing about adding them to smoothies is that they get ground up, so they're a little easier for your body to process because they are basically coated in insoluble fiber, kind of like whole flax seeds. So when you soak or you blend them, it breaks that down. There we go. Ooh, so I'm gonna give it a little blend now that we've made sure we got all those chia seeds off the walls of the blender. Okay, I want to give this to Corey since I am plumb full of smoothies right now. So I'm just going to give myself a little tester in this jar and I'll save the rest for him. I haven't had this smoothie in years, honestly. Because like I mentioned before with the first recipe, I like just cramming as many different fruits and stuff that still tastes good, but you know, fruits and some veggies or whatever into my smoothies typically when I want it to be a meal. But this one is so delicious. Peanut butter and banana. Like, I mean, how can you go wrong with that? You really can't. It's the best. So good. And this is nice and creamy. So good. All right, so those are 3 vegan smoothies for you that are clearly very easy to make with generally very accessible ingredients as well, at least in my mind. So you can find all the links to these recipes in the description, and they're all on my website, including the brand new chocolate tahini smoothie for you. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you on the flip side.